We are running through the top 5 stories at ComicBook.com at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's 4:30 on Xandar in Comic Book Now. Is it 4:30 on Xandar?
Yeah,
I don't.
right.
I think so. I have a friend there. They actually have more hours in a day than us. Welcome to Comic Book Now, everybody. I'm your host, Brandon Davis. Please call me BD. Joined today by my matching compadre, Lucas Siegel.
This was on accident.
It's on purpose. We're supporting the South Carolina Gamecocks in their NCAA basketball run.
Shout out to Sean King and happy Australia Day to our friends down under.
Yeah, our friends down under. We're going to talk about Aquaman, which is filming down under. We have to get to the news, of course. How about this? Before we get to our top 5 stories, we're doing a bonus. The Gotham trailer, which dropped right before Comic Book Now. It's a bonus story. It's 3 minutes of epic. It's got the Joker. It's got Bruce Wayne. Enough of me. How about the trailer?
Tonight, Gotham, you too shall be reborn.
You will be a curse upon Gotham. Your legacy will be death and madness.
A man with no fear.
Hang on to your hats, folks, because you ain't seen nothing yet.
It's you. It's really you. He's still dead. I know he's still dead. You promised them Jerome. We are all Jerome.
It's still a little fuzzy.
Where's my face?
What's that?
This guy's hilarious.
So, how's it look?
It looks good.
Tonight, Gotham, there are no rules. Do what you want. Kill who you want. You too shall be reborn.
My God.
We're getting reports of a riot growing on the west side, as well as widespread looting uptown.
It's not just the cult anymore. Ordinary citizens are taking Jerome's cue.
Get those freaks in the cages! You know where Jerome is? Where is he? Look around! He's everywhere!
You don't want to miss what happens next.
What do you say, Bruce? Want to have some fun before the main event? Let's turn that frown upside down.
You want to kill someone? Let's get on with it.
Shall we end the night with a bang? Or better yet, a boom?
Ready?
Not really. Face it, kid. Gotham has no heroes.
Brucey. You want to be a hero?
That's a TV show, not a movie. Whoo! That's unbelievable. What I think is most, I know he's dead already, but David Dastmalchian, who played Dwight, he was on The Dark Knight, and he was helping the Joker there too.
Yeah, he was so good last episode.
He's an Ant-Man too now,
man.
but that's pretty cool.
So good. That was
trailer
so
was-
exciting. I hope that Charlie White really enjoyed that trailer.
Are they ever
That's
actually
exciting.
going to continue, commit to the Joker, or is it all going to be a play on our expectations?
No, I think they're going to keep playing on our
Anyway.
expectations. Yeah.
All right, let's
But
get
it's
to the
fun.
top 5 stories of the day, shall we? How about this for a top story? Vin Diesel says a Groot movie is inevitable. I am movie. Yes, you heard me right. The actor who has said less words in the Marvel Cinematic Universe than Howard the Duck believes he is going to get his own film as a talking house plan. In an interview with MTV, Diesel said it's something he and James Gunn have talked about and something he would love to do, going on to call Groot an enigmatic character and a standalone film inevitable. Now, before you dismiss the idea, remember that Groot had his own title at Marvel Comics, and although it wasn't exactly a top seller, I own issue number 1. The X-Men TV show we told you about just yesterday has landed an epic director for its pilot episode, none other than Bryan Singer. Why does that name sound familiar? Well, because Singer is the name behind some of the biggest X-Men movies, aside maybe James Mangold's Wolverines. He helmed a couple of Wolverine films, Mangold, but Singer has taken charge of X-Men, X-Men 2, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. Obviously, the good ones, X-Men 3, not on the list. The series doesn't have a premiere date yet, but will follow a couple of parents and their mutant child as they're hunted by the government and forced into an underground ring of mutants. This, of course, follows the other X-Men news of the TV series Legion heading to FX on February 8th. So Fox stepped into the TV game. That's pretty exciting. Jumping back to Guardians, though. We talked about Groot, but now it's Drax's turn. The character will be a major part of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, according to Dave Bautista himself in a recent talk with Collider. The actor says there's a lot more Drax in the sequel where he will be more funny and driven as opposed to the big, muscly brute he was portrayed as the first time around. I don't know. I love the muscly brute. But he did go on to say that the theme of Volume 2 is family, and May 5th can't come soon enough. One more Marvel topic today is news that there will be news. The official Marvel Entertainment Twitter account teased us this morning to let us know there is a big announcement coming tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The immediate speculation, though, that this would mean we're getting some Infinity War news because Infinity War just started filming just this week, but internet detectives that we decided to dig a little deeper, and a clue regarding this announcement surfaced. Video game manufacturer Square Enix is also teasing a big announcement coming tomorrow morning. So, Lucas, I'm thinking maybe there's a little something going on between the two.
Yeah. The two teasers literally came out the exact same time on Twitter, so that kind of clued people off. The big speculation here is that we're going to get some Marvel Worlds in Kingdom Hearts 3, which is the much delayed but still much anticipated.
Look, I would rather just have a Marvel title. We're already getting the Spider-Man game. I think a Marvel title from Square Enix. How about a sick RPG?
Oh, man.
That'd be
that
awesome.
Would be awesome.
To the likes of Final Fantasy.
But if this is a step in that direction...
I mean, it's a step inside. If it turns out to be video game news, which it seems like it's certainly going to, I think a Marvel RPG would be the coolest outcome for fans of
Absolutely.
Marvel. What's the last good Marvel video game?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, well, let's hope. Fingers crossed tomorrow, 10 a.m. But it's been a big day for Marvel, but we also have some news from the DC side of the spectrum. We got to touch them all. The first photo of Aquaman's core cast members. Director James Wan took to Twitter to share a picture of Patrick Wilson, Amber Heard himself, and Jason Momoa as they gear up to film this movie in Australia. They headed down under. Table reads just recently went down, and everything is in place to start filming for Aquaman's current release date of July 27th, 2018, which may or may not change. We have to see. That movie might get bumped up, Lucas. I don't know.
Yeah.
With the changing going on in the Warner Brothers landscape.
Yeah, the way that The Flash has continued to have some production issues as far as, keeping a director.
Right, it's kind of important.
Since this one is getting started
and
actually
that's just
filming.
what happens when you announce all of your release dates for this far in advance. Creative changes are always going on. It's not necessarily a bad sign.
Yep.
But it's just...
And all those release dates were announced before Jeff Johns became the new head of DC Films, so that could change things around a little bit.
I'm totally okay with Aquaman arriving ahead of schedule.
Absolutely.
But we're going to take questions, comments, concerns. Lucas is reading them right now, but I want to continue our giveaway, our very exciting giveaway for The Walking Dead fans. We're continuing now. We are giving away a room on the Walker Stalker cruise, which sails from Miami to the Bahamas on February 3rd to the 6th. I'll be there too. All you have to do to set sail with the cast and crew of The Walking Dead is send us a video, 10 seconds or less, holding your phone in landscape mode. We've already got a few tall ways. You're disqualified. Do your best impression of Negan. Screenshot right now. Be funny, be creative, just don't bash any skulls. I don't know, bash a watermelon or two. Then go to comicbook.com/page/submissions to send us your entry. It's that easy. We have one entry to show on today's show from Chris, who didn't tell us his last name, but it seems like he's going by Wacky Weirdo. Check this out. Dude, that was priceless.
That was...
I mean, I imagine that's how Negan treats Lucille. It's a lady. It's his lady. There's some intimate time between. And I'm imagining. I don't know. There's plenty of puns I can make there. I'm just gonna leave them on the on the T there and on the I'm done.
Yeah.
Great entry, Chris. Thank you, and thank you to everyone else who has submitted. We've got a bunch of good laughs, but that one was really funny. So yeah, let's turn it over to the questions.
Oh man, we are getting so many great questions and comments right now. Thank you guys. Remember that you can not just leave comments here. You can actually ask us questions anytime you want on Twitter with hashtag CBNow. Hashtag CBNow anytime you want. Let's go ahead and jump over to Twitter for one of those questions from our buddy Wim Sadmojo, who asks, what did you guys think about this year's Oscars nomination? I'd wish Civil War was one of the nominees, but I'm glad Doctor Strange made it. What do you think? Did Civil War get snubbed?
I mean, in what category was Civil War expected to be nominated? I mean, it was not an Oscar type of film. It would be cool to see Civil War be like, oh, Best Picture. I wouldn't even go that far, and I loved Civil War. It's something we've seen before, really. I mean, it's different by comparison to superhero films. It was different in that we had so much emotion and characters fighting each other. But in terms of just movies in general, I don't think it was really groundbreaking. And
don't you think that the Oscars at this point should have some kind of category besides just visual effects and sound that actually recognizes the movies that people go to see, though? I mean,
well, but people have been going. Yeah, but we've been going to
$1
see action movies. There's never been people. They've never accounted for the rush on action movies when they became popular. There wasn't anything for the westerns back in the day. It's.
Well, yeah, but those movies were getting honored back in the
because
day.
They were the only thing coming out. I mean, look at action movies from the 90s. You didn't see Jean-Claude Van Damme and Arnold Schwarzenegger movies going and getting a whole bunch of Oscar nominations, despite those being the movies that were selling tickets.
Yeah.
Look, hey,
those were Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
I'm not saying I don't want to see superheroes at the Oscars, because I think that would be awesome and it would actually get me to watch the Oscars. But they're not there. I understand. It's more of the artistic storytelling than what the superhero movies are, I guess.
Fair enough.
I'm just in defense of the Oscars, guys.
Absolutely. I think they need to evolve.
Anyway.
All right, let's do another one from Twitter here. I've got a great question from Sarah Blair, who loved watching Sailor Moon on TV as a kid and wants to know when they're going to make a live-action Sailor Moon movie.
Well, Lucas, as you pointed out to me before the show began, Sailor Moon has been done in live action before, and if I never saw Sailor Moon in live action again, that would be fine.
Yeah. Should we take a...
Yeah, we have a video to show you guys. And if you still want Sailor Moon after this, then kudos to you guys.
Holy crap. That right there was Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. That is a live-action TV series that was made in Japan. All of the transformations are exactly like that. You can find them all on YouTube.
It's like a horrible version of Power Rangers.
It's pretty special. If I did ask our anime expert Megan Peters if she thought there'd ever be another live-action Sailor Moon. She said if there would be, it would be announced this year because the 25th anniversary.
I'm going to go ahead and say I'm okay without it. But guys, before we get to live questions, Lucas is going to continue reading them. I want to show you guys a show we call Major Issues with. This is new every Tuesday on ComicBook.com. It's hosted by Chris Killian. We explore the first appearance of some of your favorite characters. This week, Hellboy. Check it out.
He's the wisecracking half-demon turned paranormal investigator. This is Hellboy. Really? I can't say Hellboy? What about Heckboy? Hello collectors and welcome to Major Issues. Today we've got Hellboy. Created by Mike Mignola in 1993, Hellboy's first appearance is a tricky one. Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. First, a gray-skinned Hellboy prototype drawn by Mr. Mignola pops up in Dime Press number 4. Then, about 1,500 issues of these were released solely for San Diego Comic-Con that featured an exclusive 4-page black and white Hellboy story. That brings us to today's issue. Now, initially, Hellboy was pitched to DC Comics, but they weren't comfortable having a character with Hell in his name. But they were totally cool with Dr. Manhattan's Blue Diddley just flopping about. I digress. Instead, Hellboy's first full-color, nationally released appearance is here in X-Men number 21, published by Dark Horse Comics. In a story written by John Byrne, Danny and Josh get lost in an abandoned subway tunnel where they run into the right hand of Doom himself, doing what he does best, cracking jokes while taking giant monsters to Pound Town. Hellboy! Always nice to be recognized, kid. The best thing about this cameo is that immediately Byrne and Mignola start having fun with his mythology. Hellboy is just a comic book character, isn't he? I'd love to know just where you've been reading about me. Who knew Hellboy was so postmodern? In 2004, Hellboy was made into a feature film and played spot on by Ron Perlman, who reprised the role for the sequel and 2 animated films. If you're a true Hellboy fan, then add X-Men number 21 to your collection. For ComicBook.com, I'm Chris Killian, and we'll see you next issue.
I know the immediate question in the comment section after Hellboy Major Issues is going to be, where is Hellboy 3? I can tell you it's in production hell.
We have a question from Anne Francis, Emmanuel Wayne Brown, Lucas Severson, all asking, will we get a Hellboy 3?
The best I can tell you is that I've talked to Ron Perlman about this, and I've asked him over the phone, over text messages, when are we going to get it? Do you want to come on the show and talk about it? I've invited him. He tells me he wants to see it happen sooner than later. He doesn't want to do it crowdfunded because he doesn't want the fans to have to pay for his movie and then pay again to go see it. They talk about it. Him and Guillermo del Toro have talked about it a million times. Guillermo just posted that
we
poll.
got that Twitter poll from Guillermo.
So the people behind the movie want it to happen. They just need a studio to get behind it. So I think if fans show more and more support, you'll get a sequel. I mean, look at what happened with M. Night Shyamalan recently. Anyway, spoilers, spoiler warning. Let's toss it over to the comment section one more time.
Catherine Davis, I need a Hellboy 3 as well.
Great last name, Catherine.
Okay. Reese Williams, another one of our loyal viewers, asks, could Nova be in Avengers Infinity War?
I think Nova could absolutely be in Avengers Infinity War, and that's such a cool picture. I think Nova could absolutely be in Avengers Infinity War. You know why? Because he was originally in the first draft for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
He's a character who could be one of those new Avengers who carries the cinematic universe beyond Infinity War Part 2, like Spider-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel are going to have to do.
Absolutely.
He's going to be introduced, and he is a character that Marvel Studios can market and have a lot of fun with, whether you do Richard Rider or you do Sam Alexander. And I think they would go the Sam Alexander route. Personally, I think if they bring him to the MCU.
Yeah.
And that will piss a lot of people off, I know. But I'm okay with it, and I think that is what they'll do.
It probably makes a little more sense to use Sam now so that you're introducing a new generation.
Right.
The other cool thing here is that we did get the Nova Corps. We have some kind of established version of it, and they got annihilated. So what do they do now?
Let me pitch this to you.
A new way to channel the Nova power.
Right, let me pitch this to you. In Ant-Man, look at what they did with Hank Pym. He already existed, but he was low-key enough to not be a major factor for the Avengers to consider when they were formed. So Richard Rider could have already existed.
Right.
We introduced Sam Alexander, and then eventually we get to teasing Richard Rider, just like we did with Peter Quill and Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy. You combine those two stories, and you have a great trilogy of films, and you can put him in the Avengers, and he's one of my favorite heroes. So I'm obviously very triggered right now. I want to see Nova in the MCU.
So you want Sam Alexander. You do want.
I want both of them. I think Sam Alexander's the way to go. Right.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that they could have a lot of fun with that. I think that, again, like I said, with the way that the Nova Corps got completely decimated in Guardians of the Galaxy, it's so easy storytelling-wise now to be like, well, we want to channel the energy through a single person instead of through these weird machines. Mm-hmm. This is a great live question.
And you know it's 4:30 on Xandar.
Yes, it is.
Anyway.
It's 4:30 on Xandar right now. Stephen Turner missed the X-Men news, which is that we have a director for the new X-Men TV
Bryan
show,
Singer.
and it's Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? It's getting some interesting comments online. I'm seeing a lot of backlash and a lot of people that are really excited. Where do you fall on that? Are you excited about this show?
I find it hard to buy into comic book TV shows that are canon to the movies because they reserve the best characters for the movies. Look at it. I was so excited for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And while it's a very good show right now, there wasn't, I was excited about the tie-ins, just like everybody else was. Right. And in the beginning, we had Nick Fury, we had Lady Sif somewhere along the way, but I think Bryan Singer will do the pilot, and then is he going to come back for any more after that? Probably not. No. Are we going to see Wolverine or Mystique or any of the big X-Men characters we've come to see on the screen over the past few years? Maybe in very small cameo form, but you're going to have to look for smaller mutants and characters along those lines, which is awesome, which can be a lot of fun. Hopefully they do it well. Hopefully we don't just have one-off mutants like the Flash with villains and stuff like that.
Right before we came on the air, we did just get a story that one of the producers of the new X-Men show confirmed that there will be mutants that fans recognize on the show. So while that probably doesn't mean the mutants that we're seeing in the movies, the X-Men comics have been around.
There's a whole slew of X-Men characters.
So many characters.
And there's someone you could pull from the animated, the cartoon, which people would recognize as well, which would be great. Or characters that didn't get a chance to shine in the movies.
Chris Claremont on his own created literally over 20,000 characters for the Marvel Universe while he was working on X-Men.
There
are a few
more
that
days
they
than
can
I've been alive. That's I'd have to create a character every day.
It's unbelievable,
it's a lot of
but
characters.
it's really pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Let's take one more question here from Twitter. I've got Jordan Evans, another loyal viewer. Thank you. We used a lot of loyal viewers today. We appreciate you guys watching. He asked, what do you think the next Telltale game should be? Those Telltale adventure games are so much fun. He'd love to see one about the Watchmen. I know you've played The Walking Dead. I've been playing the Batman one recently, and it's awesome.
You're going to call me predictable here. You know my answer. I want to see Lost become a Telltale game. How great would that be?
Man, that could be cool.
That would a Lost Telltale game where you start after the plane crash and you have to make choices from there. That could be really cool, whether it's a whole reimagining of the show or you just play as Jack Shepherd.
Lost, the untold story of Nikki and Paolo.
No. The all too told story of Nikki and Paolo. Anybody who watches Lost knows that it's the most regrettable episode ever. All right. And on that note, I don't want to make this a regrettable episode. We'll end it right there. Thank you for watching Comic Book Nation. On behalf of Lucas Siegel and ComicBook.com, I'm Brandon Davis. Feel free to hit us up on Twitter. There's how to do that. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for Comic Book Now.